Section 1.9, Connecting Multiple Representations of Limits. Describe how to decide which method is best to find the value of a limit. Analytical are problems like where you're going to try to simplify a rational expression, a rational function, and you're going to simplify a rational function and then plug the value in, and then plug the value in to get the answer. So that's what's going to happen with analytical. It's about simplifying. Now your methods of simplifying are, what would be your methods for doing that? Your methods are factoring. You're going to factor. You're going to use the conjugate. Oops, that's a J. And there's other methods. You can also use analytical. Could be the trig, special trig, trig simplification. And different ways like that. So those are different kind of methods with analytical. But you're going to simplify the rational expression and see if you can cancel something out using one of these methods. But looking for something to disappear, cancel out. Or just simply plug it in to start with. Sometimes you just plug the number in and you're done. Now, graphically, how do we do graphically? Well, if you're given a graph, totally do it. If you're graphically, graphical is awesome. All you're looking for on a graph is you just look to see if the limit as x approaches c of f of x from the negative side is equal to the limit as x approaches c from the positive side of f of x. So all you do is look at the graph and see if that's true, and you are done. So if you're given a graph, be like, yes, thank you, and just look for this little thing. Now, what that means again is, just a FYI, is if you have a graph here, and we're looking for right here, you're looking if this and this are coming to the same point. That's what I mean by what I just said, if the two limits go to the same point. So you just look and see. Now, if you have a graphing calculator available, totally graph it. Graph this function and do it this way. It's actually quicker, possibly, to graph it and see it this way than maybe doing all the work. But most likely, if they're wanting analytical, they're not going to give you a graphing calculator. So you have to be able to make a good decision. But if you can at any time graph it to see it visually, it's awesome. The only problem is it's sometimes hard to find that point also without a graph, without a graphing calculator. Even on a picture, you're like, what's happening? So this is a very good way to get exact values, analytical. Some people call analytical algebraic. So the last one is tabular. A tabular, what I mean by that, is a table. So if you have f(x) and f of x, and let's say we're trying to approach, say, 6 here. All right, we're trying to find what is that. So what you do is you make values. So you do 5.99, you do 5.9, you do 5.8, and you approach from this side, and here you do 6.01, and then you do 6.1, and then you maybe do 6.2, and you crunch from both sides, and you plug in values, and you see what it's approaching. That's tabular. All right, again, you just plug in numbers to the function, see sooner or later, does it see like it's coming to a specific spot. Now, if you're given a tabular to begin with, what you sometimes can do from if the tabular is given is you can make a picture, which is called graph. Picture is graphing of the table. I like to do that. If I see this, some people can't see what's happening from a table, so they like to draw a graph. A graph is huge. So if you simply graph it, if you can graph it very easily, by plotting dots, you can see the picture, and now you're basically doing this and seeing what you're approaching from both sides. So a table, just for most of us, we're not used to it. But all a table is values that someone's plugged into the function and given us values. Now sometimes they won't give you the function to see other dots and just these, most likely. But so what's going to happen in calculus, we give you equations and say take the limits. We give you a graph and take the limits. We give you a table and take the limits. And you have to be able to think through how to do each type or make adjustments. Again, tabular can go back to graphing very easily sometimes and help. Graphically, it's my favorite. And then here, well, you could try to use graphing calculator to do this, or you could for analytically, oh, I forgot about that. Analytically, you could go down here and make a table of your that's how I do it sometimes. When I get an equation, I sometimes go down here, make a table, and see what happens. What am I approaching from both sides? And sometimes that's my only way to do analytical because I'm stuck. None of this stuff here works, and I'm stuck having to make a table to see it. And from my table, I then make a graph to look at it. So sometimes I go from here to here to here. There's all sorts of ways you have to think through depending on how the information is given to you. Have a good day.